Hey, this is Carrie Canary Quilts, and I'm working on the quilting of my Dear Jane quilt. I am utilizing the Dear Jane add-on for EQ8, and if you've been interested in checking this out, I would highly recommend it. I have utilized it from the beginning to the end of this quilt journey. I have a link down below, and I also have a link for EQ8 if you want to jump into that too. I have a YouTube playlist where I put together all of the blocks utilizing the Dear Jane add-on. I put the quilt together and now I'm quilting it. So that is also linked down below. All right, so to quilt Dear Jane, I am using the DJ4 Quilting Center Blocks master file. I'm not making any changes. I'm going to the project sketchbook, the quilts, and then down here it tells you which block you're working on, and I'm working on row L, so I'm starting with L1. I just look at the lines, turn around, translate it to my quilt with my marking pen, and then it's there for when I go into quilt it. So it's pretty simple. It's nice that she put the quilting lines in here so that you could replicate the quilt as Dear Jane did. So I do appreciate that, and it makes it easier on me. I don't have to think about how to quilt it. We are working on row L this week. We only have one more week to quilt after this, and the center blocks will be done. Don't let this intimidate you. You're just working with 4.5-inch blocks at a time. Makes it pretty simple to work with. So that's how I'm looking at it. And in these last few rows, Dear Jane Jane Stickle seems to be liking the X's. I call it the Dear Jane Special or DJS sometimes when I'm working through this, because when I would turn around to do the next block and look in here, it'd just be more X's. And you can kind of see that here. Lots of X's. In fact, that one's just an X. So just makes you wonder if she was going in the same order I am and if she just kind of got tired at the end. I don't know. But it's still beautiful. It's still going to be like hers. And like I said, the Dear Jane add-on is very robust. I don't have Brenda Papadakis' book, but it seems like they did a very good job of translating the book over into the program. So hit the subscribe button, notification bell if you want to see how this turns out. If you want to follow along, check out the playlist if you want to start doing the Dear Jane quilt. And let's head down to my desk. We're getting started on the L row, which is exciting because then we just have the M row and I'm going to be done with the center quilting. Whoo-wee, this is getting fun. So L1, it has just X's in the corners. All right, we got off to an easy start, and we got another one that's not going to be hard at all. So we have a Dear Jane special of X's. And then we've got lines right here just going down the center. And that's really it. Going down the center like that, these outer rows. L3 is an X in the middle and squares out here. Doing about 1/8 of an inch. A square out here in my green. And then a square on the outside. I think I'll do 1/8 of an inch again. All right, L4, another Dear Jane special, the X. And then she comes down the center of these whites. And then she does like flying goose type quilting, and I'm just kind of looking at where the center is like that. It's not quite a square, but it's like the flying goose lines inside these rectangles. L5, the Dear Jane Special, NX. And then we're gonna make a square here. I'm just gonna draw from this corner to this corner. And then stitch in the ditch in here. So, not a lot of quilting so far. All right, we got some quilting now. Got more lines. We have a plus sign. I'm gonna do 3/8 of an inch in the middle, right here. And the center here and out here. And then we have a square inside here. So about 1/4 of an inch. And we have a square on the outside too. That's about 1/8 of an inch. All right, that one's gonna give us some time. It's gonna take some time. Wow. This one is literally only the Dear Jane Special. That's L7. L8. Guess what we have? Everybody say it. The DJS. The Dear Jane Special. With a square on the outside. So I'm going to go 1/2 an inch and just hook it up to the X. Makes you wonder, was she getting tired? Was she doing this row by row and getting tired? L9 is, I'm going to start in here, connect the points, and then we're going to do a square out here, and my looks like my ruler's just big enough. This is a 1.5 inch ruler, so we've got a square out there, and then we've got 3 lines out here. There we go. That's the quilting for L9. L10, we're starting with the DJS and working out from there. All right, we basically have 2 V's in here. So if I do 1/2 an inch, come up to that seam, do 1/2 an inch over to here, and then another 1/2 an inch for a smaller one. All right, that won't be too hard to quilt. So we have an X and then some V's on the inside. Hey, L11, a DJS. That's it. Okay, this one, I I do have some small applique pieces out here. So we have a DJS, and again, that's the Dear Jane Special, which is an X, but I'm gonna come down to my applique, go around it, and then keep on going. All right, so I'm gonna go every 3/4 of an inch. I'm lining it up with my X. And I'm just gonna go just a little bit above my applique. All right, same over here. 11. So this is all applique, and we have a bunch of circles. I am not gonna do that. I am literally just gonna go around my applique on this one. I think that will be enough, since on some of these we just have X's. All right, I am gonna get to quilting. I'm getting excited to get to the end of my center, and then we'll be onto the blocks. All right, let's go. I'm starting on L13 so that I have less material in the throat, I guess. I guess it's called the throat. I've been calling it the neck. The throat of my machine, to make it easier. So I'm working from 13 to 1. And this one, I was just going around the applique, but I'm just going to start, and I'm going to just go, keep on going.
All right, L is quilted. A couple of lines I misjudged, especially my X right here. But other than that, it went pretty quick. That was pretty easy quilting. If you ask me, I don't know what M looks like. Does it have a bunch of X's? The DJS, the Dear Jane Special. Not putting her down. That's not what I'm doing. She just has a lot of X's. If I was hand quilting this, I'd probably have a lot of X's too. Oh, and this one. This one I was supposed to go up like that, and I couldn't see the line and went the other way. So it's kind of cool. I'm finding more people who are doing Dear Jane. Some have the book, some have EQ8. EQ8 does run quite a few sales, so if you're thinking about doing it, you could kind of hold off and wait, see if they have any sales on their add-ons. But to be brutally honest, this add-on is totally worth full price, to be honest. Absolutely worth the full price. And you'll learn a little bit about EQ8 along the way too. And don't forget, if you're new here, that I have all the cut pieces for all my paper piecing on my website. If you start this and you do paper piecing, you can head over to my website and find all the cut pieces for your paper piecing. And I have a playlist on YouTube for all the Dear Jane. Putting all the blocks together. Took us about a year. Starting to see the end of this. It's getting a little exciting, but I still have to do the binding. Which will take a while, but that always does. On quilts like this, I do hand binding. Otherwise, I would machine bind. This was the one that was the heaviest quilted, wasn't it? Nope. Here's another one of our just the Dear Jane Special. All right, getting towards the end. Make sure you check out the links in the description down below. It really does help the channel out for all the items I use while quilting. And hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so you can see this come together, and all the other fun stuff I will be doing here and that I have done in the past. Don't forget that I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.